Hey everybody, Dr. G here. It's time to operate. Today we're going to dissect the solo from All Right Now by Free. Let's start with what I call the interlude before the actual solo. All right, let's break that down. Middle finger on the 14th fret G string, index finger on the 13th fret B string for these first few notes. And he does a quick hammer on from C to D. In the last note of the phrase, he stretches the C towards C sharp. Then he stretches the D on the B string up to E and back down, then to C, like this. The second part of the phrase starts out the same way, but when he gets to the D note, there's no grace note, and the D note is very short, like this. And the ending of the second part of the phrase is like this. So you're working the D to E stretch. Then I use my pinky to stretch the E flat to an F, and then C to A, and then stretch the G note on the high E string to A. Okay, we're going to break the solo down into phrases. Eric Clapton once commented that Paul Kossoff had a fabulous vibrato, and he really did. He was a master on that. So if you really want to play this solo right, you have to really work on the vibrato. Let's look at the first phrase. Let's break that down. The first thing is a hammer on the G string from a G note to an A note, really quick. Lots of vibrato. He hits the A and then slides up to the B. Does it again. And hits the B twice. So let's look at that slowly. He then follows that with a similar phrase. Again, hitting the A note before he slides up to the B, and then the B is sliding back down to the A. All right, let's look at that whole phrase. Now we switch over to the B and E strings for a double string technique. He puts his middle finger on the 3rd fret of the B string and quickly slides it up to the 5th fret while playing the open E string next to it. He then slides it up to the 7th fret, F sharp note, and back down, like this. Hit again. The second part of this phrase starts where he left off. For the next phrase, it goes something like this. Let's break down that phrase. You start on the G string, sliding up from B flat to B, 3rd to 4th fret. Then pinky on the high E, 5th fret. Then stretch the B note to C, and if you have light gauge strings on, you don't want to stretch it too far. It takes very little. And then vibrato on A on the 2nd fret. So let's look at that slowly. From here, he slides up to A on the B string, 10th fret. He starts out with vibrato, then he lets it stand still. Now he does 2 triplets. The first one is on the upbeat, one end. So if you were to count it, it would be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's look at that phrase. Middle finger, 10th fret, B string, index finger, 9th fret, G string, ring finger, 11th fret, G string. I pick upward first on the first note, and then the next two is a downward stroke, but it's a hammer-on. So coming out of the triplet, he stretches the B to C sharp like this. Then he does a stretch of B to C sharp, back down to B, then adds A and F sharp like this. Next is a double string riff. He's got his ring finger on the B string 12th fret. He's going to stretch that B note to a C sharp. But right after he hits it, he hits the open string next to it. And I do that as an upstroke. And I hit both strings, the B and E, on the upstroke like this. So let's look at what he does right after that as well. After he does the double string technique, he does a quick B to A note on the B string, followed by F sharp to A. So let's try that again. Let's look at that section of the solo slowly. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Next, he goes up to the 17th fret. I've got my index finger on the 17th fret of the B and E strings. Starts with the E note on the B string, goes up to the 20th fret on the B string, which is a G note, follows with the 17th fret on the high E, which is an A note, doing this triplet. Then he stretches the G to an A with a lot of vibrato. Let's look at the phrase that follows the first high triplet. That's 17th fret, index finger covering the high E and the B strings. First note is A on the high E, followed by E on the B string. You then go to the 20th fret high E string, stretch it up to D, back down to C, pull off to play the A note, and then add your finger back on the 20th fret for the final note. So that whole phrase is or more like. Next is another triplet, again on the 17th fret. This time it starts with the A note, which is the 17th fret high E string. And it starts on the upbeat. Something like 1, 2, 3, 4. That triplet is followed by this phrase. Let's break that down. Index finger on the 17th fret covering the high E string and the B string. Start with the A note on the high E. Go to the E note on the B string. Now, put your ring finger on the 20th fret of the high E, stretch that C note to a D, and let it come back down towards C a little bit. Stretch it up again now to D with some vibrato and hit it 5 times. Now, let it come back down again to C. Hit an A note on the 17th fret. Now, C note on the 20th fret. Then you stretch the G to an A on the B string at the 20th fret. All right, let's tap the foot now. Try to get all the beats where they're supposed to be in terms of timing. It starts on the upbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, a little faster, tapping the foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. More like the record. Let's look at the final phrase of the solo, slowly. Breaking that down, the first note is the 17th fret on the high E string. It's an A note. Go to 20th fret, B string. Stretch that G note up to A and bring it back down to G. Then F sharp and 2 E's. And the first E is on the beat. The second E is on the off beat. Again. To wrap it up, let's have one final look at that solo. Well, I hope that gives you a feel for how good Paul Kossoff was. Once you get that solo down, you're going to love playing it. Stay tuned to Guitar Riffs Played Right for the dissection of additional famous songs.